All right, and of course, we'll be giving you the latest from that end in terms of what happens there once that court proceeding is concluded. Now, to some of the stories making headlines in the world of business. Now, second-hand clothing sector employs around 2 million people, with the Mitumba Consortium Association of Kenya revealing that weakening the mitumba sector does not empower local textile production. Noah Kipkemboy now joins us with the latest on that side. Noah, good afternoon.
Well, good afternoon, Jimmy. Indeed, when you talk about mitumba, in the Kenyan context, it's always sort of a divisive conversation, because when you, almost 8 months ago, you listened to the Cabinet Secretary Trade, he says, to boost local production, we have to deal with mitumba. But the question is it sort of a seesaw? You reduce one side, then the other side goes up, or is there an element that we're missing in this regard? And today, of course, a report by the Mitumba Consortium Association of Kenya, and this on the second-hand clothing industry in East Africa community. And this particular report is very critical to give us insights into this particular issue of mitumba in Kenya and East Africa. Right now, I'm joined by, of course, Professor Patrick Diamond from Queen's Mary University, and also Teresia Orim, who is the Mitumba Consortium Association of Kenya chairperson. But starting with you, Prof, I mean, this particular report, looking at it, it tells us that mitumba industry or second-hand clothing market is very critical for East Africa's economy. Talk to me about this.
Well, it is important for the economy today because of the potential of the mitumba trade to create jobs at a time when across many parts of the world there's increasing pressure on employment because of the after effects of COVID and the world economic recession. So the mitumba trade is creating thousands, millions of jobs, which are particularly reaching young people and women who need to be empowered economically. But also for the economy of tomorrow, mitumba is so important because it's helping us to create a more sustainable economy. Because of course, mitumba is about reusing what we have, not producing new things. And this will be very important in the global fight against climate change.
And the report, does it look at this argument? If we do away with mitumba or second-hand clothes, then it means that we are boosting local production of textile products.
Yeah, absolutely. The report does look at this argument very much, because we say that if we were to simply ban the import of second-hand clothing, this would only create opportunities for low-cost producers, predominantly from Asia, to ship more new clothing into East Africa and to Kenya, which would be detrimental for consumers, but also bad for the environment. And we argue in the report, if we want to strengthen domestic textile production, the way to do that is through sound industrial policies that are about boosting skills, infrastructure, capability within the domestic textile sector, not about banning second-hand clothing. Banning second-hand clothing is a distraction from the goal of reviving domestic textile production, which is a long-term process that will take 10, 15, 20 years to do.
I want to invite Bishop Teresia, who is the chair of the consortium. Looking at this now, listening to you, you sound very vindicated. And being an industry player, I mean, what is at stake when we make policies that sort of counter the second-hand clothing market in Kenya?
The biggest would be 2 million jobs. There will be at stake. When we talk about mitumba, I look at it as 2 million people. So when somebody undermines that, we really don't understand, especially here in Kenya. In East Africa, we have 3.4 million people who are directly employed by this trade, and over 10 million people who survive by this trade, the dependents and indirect workers. So for us, what we would say to the government is we need our job security. We are taxpayers. One container of 40 feet is about $18,000. So we are committed to that. The government should now provide us with our job security.
But sorry to cut you short, yes. But the argument has been if we sell less mitumba, yes, then we will buy more and make more within the Kenyan borders. Does that argument stand as an industry player?
No, it doesn't stand, because as we stand today, we do not have enough cotton in our country. So there is no way we're going to revive our textile industry in this nation. unless we start by growing cotton, reviving our ginneries, and then producing clothes. So today, if we were to ban mitumba, that means we stop buying from the West and we go to the East to buy the materials. That means the clothes will be more expensive as we are today.
With this new financial year, are there changes? Are we expecting to see any changes in the second-hand clothing market locally?
Yes, basically, right now the world is dealing with inflation. We are dealing with the issues of aftermath of COVID. And so right now, you know, our country, our taxes are pretty much high. So in the second-hand sector, we expect to suffer more. The people have suffered and are continuing to suffer. Things are becoming more expensive, and also the government, it's like they create an impression that without mitumba we can grow our cotton industry, which is not true. So stopping mitumba to revive the cotton industry, it is taking by one hand, giving in one hand and taking from the other hand, which will not be good for the 2 million people.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Well, Jimmy, that's the latest from the Mitumba corner. As it stands, Mitumba say that we are here to stay. Please support us. Back to you, Jimmy.
All right. Thank you very much, Noah. And of course, we'll be looking forward to your package later on.